Alright, you're live.
Alright, this is how to unbox your new System 30M from Hyrel 3D. See the new packaging? We have a box tray combination that's strapped together. So the first thing you want to do is cut the straps. Once the straps come off, you can just lift the cardboard box right off the printer. At this point, you want to carefully inspect for any damages that may have happened during shipping. Look at the corners, look at the box. If the box looks damaged, take photographs of it, take photographs of the printer if there's any damage in here, because if it was abused during shipping, we have to make a claim for that. We need documentation. So once you inspect your printer thoroughly, you can lift the foam off the top, save all these packing materials in case you need to use them again. And your printer will be wrapped in some stretch wrap, so you want to carefully cut this away using a fresh razor blade, or as I'm doing with an X-Acto knife. Be very careful not to cut into the Lexan or the plastic, and you may want to start on this side because there's nothing here that you can damage with a knife. Once you get this, you'll be able to have a good handhold and be able to lift your printer.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. It's always good to have an assistant to help you. Once you're free of the bottom foam, you can remove the rest of the plastic. You can place the printer on the table. Alright, next thing we're going to do is remove the bubble covers. They'll be secured just with a few pieces of tape. You can start to remove the other protective packaging. Inside the printer, your print heads are going to be bound to the base, so we can
Either undo the buckle or you can cut the strap.
Yeah. If you twist this just right, you can get the strap to release, and then you're going to have a tablet, and depending on what you actually ordered, these boxes could be different. This flat box is for our Mark I filament extruder. The long box is for our EMO emulsifiable and clay and paste extruder.
Okay.
Alright, inside your printer, you don't need to remove this bottom cover, but just so you see what you've got, you're going to have your accessory kit in the drawer. Here's your main circuit board. If you ever need to access it before, you can just make sure all the cabling looks good there. If you need to remove the drawer completely, you can just press up on one side and down on the other, and the whole drawer slides out. Once you do that, you can remove your accessory pack, which is going to include everything you need to get started, other than your filament. Alright, this is your material spool rod holder. Sergey, you want to show how that goes in?
You want to have your side bevel on first, right?
Yes, let's...
That's right, and Devo is reminding us that we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. So we're going to, first let's release the printing platform. Now be careful, once you cut this plastic, this will drop because it's pulled up from the ball screw in the back. So support it from the bottom. Be very careful not to cut into the equipment there.
Do you have a unit without a rear spine cover so I can show them how that little gooseneck slips in?
We can show them in the
Okay.
print room. And what Davo is talking about is the ball screw, which runs the Z-axis, has a hole in the top that engages a nub on the X-arm, and that's what he's talking about. That slides into there, and he can show you that during the setup. All right.
Well, while you unpackage that, I'll see if I can show that pretty quick. So what we're talking about, oh, this one doesn't have a bed. Well, anyway, there'll be a little piece that sticks out from the back of your table arm, and it's going to slide into that hole. Now, if this is rotated a little bit, it might just rest on top, so you might want to make sure that it's actually seated in that hole. Otherwise, you'll get a little 1/4 of an inch surprise later on while you print.
All right. For the bubble covers, we're just taking the tape off the corners. And these, you can remove the protective plastic if you like. The longer flange is going to go to the bottom. This will slide to the slot right here. You may find that it's easier to, let's go and remove.
So it's going to go right in here.
And during packaging, we add some little pieces of Gorilla Tape just for padding and protect against vibration and scratching. You can remove these guys.
Okay.
Then your top cover has these clearance holes that fit over these screws in the top extrusion. They just go on just like that. This is a loose fit, it's just there by gravity. You will have to occasionally remove this if you're installing one of our longer print heads, like some of the EMO extruders. You may need to have a little more clearance at the top, so it made that easy for you to take on and off.
Okay. We'll get on the other side so we can show how the filament gets loaded.
I was going to go through this one at a time, all the pieces.
And you want the filament to come around basically clockwise as seen from the front, so that it'll go up into those guide tubes. Ah, very nice. So you open up your box and take out your guide tube. You seat it over the filament and then into the little pneumatic fitting. It's just a friction lock going in, and you have to put some pressure on that blue collar to unseat it later if you want to. Excellent. Now when we get the print head loaded, the other end will go into your print head. Alright, here I see Joe's got the accessory kit partially unloaded.
Alright, and these are all your goodies you're going to need to get started printing. This piece of glass is a removable printing surface, a build platform. And it's going to be attached directly to your heated build platform.
Now they could print right on the aluminum, but this is just easier to clean.
It is, and it's you can have multiple pieces of glass or whatever surface you want for different prints.
Gotcha. So one for ABS and one for clay or whatever.
Sergey in a moment is going to walk through the tramming process using this tool here. But first let me show you, this is called our tramming gauge. We call it the DigiTram. It's a digital indicator with a printed block that fits into our yoke. Yours is going to be shipped without the battery, so you want to make sure you put the battery in before you use it. And now here we have some other accessories. Here is your knob for your tablet mount. We don't ship with these on because they have been damaged in shipment before.
You bloody mess.
Huh? Oh, I cut myself. No. All right.
So that's just to keep this from swiveling around when you want it in place. Nice. And that's a docking station for the tablet?
Yep,
Yes,
which
it is.
I'll show you in just a moment.
Sweet.
Let's do one thing at a time.
Okay.
Let's go through this. These are your other accessories. You've got your ST-Link, which is for programming the firmware on your print heads and hotbed controller. Some plastic sprue cutters, tweezers, a set of hex keys that you can use for repairing or assembling parts to your printer. Some straight razor blades, which are good for cleaning the printing bed. Wire brush for cleaning your print heads, and a power cord, and the spatula, obviously. There you go. I'll give this to Sergey.
Okay. I'm gonna show you how to set up your printer and make it ready for print.
Okay.
Not like that.
That's power supply is adjustable for what, 110 and 220. There's some USB ports. Taking the tablet out of the box.
And normally your tablet won't already be on, but Sergey just grabbed a fresh one. As you can notice, the tablet dock is made with a 3D printed part in here to hold the USB and the charging cables.
So you just slide it.
All right.
Okay.
And then just
You have to turn on. Oh, it helps if you turn on the power strip that you're plugging your printer into. Okay.
you can see it start charging.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Now you can. This is a touchscreen tablet. We find it's easier to use a mouse, so any USB mouse you can plug right in the side.
I don't know if we showed them, but we already have the emergency stopped released. In cuts the power to the heated elements on the motors, and then twist it and it pops out, and you restore power.
So just keep that in mind. If anything starts to go awry, hit that, and it's going to stop all the heating elements and all the motors. And we also have this nice reset switch built in, which resets only the motion controller 407 board that runs the printer. And you can tell it works because the light blinks off.
So no more having to reach around to the back to the reset button. Yay.
Oh, did you just show how our
Or chamber lights,
chamber lights
yeah.
work?
It's a little button on the front.
The auxiliary power switch, there is a free connector inside where if you want to in the future add anything of your own choosing, you can add a filter or additional lighting or whatever. It uses a standard Phoenix connector on the inside.
And then what's that respond button for?
That respond button is something that Carl has worked in for a future software.
For a pause until resume command.
Right. It's not currently activated, but the potential is there.
It's already pre-configured for the next upgrade.
so
let's see
we
what
go
Sergey's
into
doing.
our repertoire program.
What's with those blue bars?
Oh, it's loading. It has the graphics from the
Oh.
desktop and graphics from Repertoire.
Gotcha.
All right. Let's get
Okay.
First you're gonna trim it.
Right now your X and Y axes are locked. You need to unlock motors to
But-
be able to.
But first we
move
need
it.
to raise the Z axis. So this enable Z calibrate button allows you to manually move it. The reason there's a separate button for enable big Z move is to prevent accidental damage from moving the bed too high in one move. So this will go 10 millimeters at a time each time you hit that top arrow.
It's okay.
And one nice little trick, if you want to know you're at the maximum, we have a Z home sensor. And as we raise up, when that light goes off,
Can you bring it down and back up?
let's go back down. That tells you that that light being on is our upper home sensor, which is a hall sensor in the back. So we're going to slowly raise it.
Nope. Now you're at the sensor sweet spot.
So as soon as you're above this, that's your maximum travel.
Now
The
you're
light has gone off.
Okay.
And if you notice with all of our adjustments, we have different levels. We can start with 0.1 millimeter up to 10 millimeters, depending on which one you click on.
Right.
All right, and now we're going to unlock the motors here. And this is going to allow Sergey to tram the bed. Tramming is just the process of making sure the bed is level in the X and Y plane.
So normally we tram from whatever position we're going to print from. We want to tram as close to the printing conditions as possible. So if we're going to print with a warm bed, we would tram with a warm bed. He's using a 2.5 millimeter hex to loosen the locking screws.
Make sure that your digitram is in the middle of your glass. Set up it on 0. And then we go around. Start from one corner.
And your printer should be fairly close to level when you receive it, because we will have test printed on it for many hours. But you always want to check it before you proceed.
And that can be set to thousandths of an inch or what, millimeters?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And if you're within 1/1000th of an inch, you should be good for most applications.
It's better to check it a couple times around to make sure that
Still 0. We set 0 in the center because we're riding on a center post and we're adjusting those 4 corners. Looks good.
Okay, now we'll lock
While he's locking those, Joe's got the Mark I heads minus the tubes he already took out.
So, we're going to take one of these heads, and as soon as Sergey's done, he's going to put it on the yoke. And your head is going to be shipped. There will be a little piece of filament left in it. This is left over from the last test print. And Sergey's going to show you how to heat the head and remove that piece of filament to load the fresh.
So you seat the gibs and then you make sure the circuit board is firmly seated in that header all the way down.
And you want to check for the lights in the front, which Davo can show you. You have the lights flashing here. That's called the heartbeat,
Little
which is
blue
where it
heartbeat.
tells you that it is talking to the motion
And
controller.
also it's registered in your software now. So just tightening the thumb screw to properly seat the head to keep it immobile.
And to get started with the print, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the heaters so it will start heating up. This temperature here shows you the temperature that the head is set to. That can be adjusted as necessary, which I know Davo has shown you already. Then you turn
And
on
the
your...
blue number is the current reading.
Right, and this is going to, once it registers the temperature, as you can see it just now came up to 22, it's showing ambient temperature, so it's going to go up from there. The same with the heated build platform. When your heated build platform is on, this red LED will be glowing.
If you're going to print with ABS, we recommend that you have some sort of a extra hold hairspray. We don't get any endorsement, but we do encourage people to use Aquanet or something similar with the extra hold. This is from Joe's personal stash.
We didn't set up the level.
Just make sure you don't get any up near the moving parts or the linear bearings.
All right.
When the bed's warm, that'll dry in just a few seconds.
Right, and what Sergio was talking about is we need to set the Z level. So he'd hit home, we're going to park it back in the center. And then using our Z calibrate setting over here, we're going to just watch the distance and get it as close as possible.
You turn off the wire light.
Whoa, too far?
Overshot.
That was my fault.